Okay, YouTube people, if you're watching, how do you like the short hair? I mean, I don't know if you will notice that it's shorter, but I think I'm really like starting to own this life again, this hair length, because I haven't had this in several years. I do sometimes miss catching the hair at the back of my neck, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Welcome back to Talking Stories. This is the show where we talk about what's in the news, culture, and the stories that inspire change. My name is Raquel Russell. Again, I'm so glad that you have joined or rejoined. Make sure to grab your favorite drink, turn up the volume, and we're ready to get started. So today I'm recording this. It is October 31st. Lies, lol, it's not October 31st yet. It is October 30th, right, Raquel? Yes. We're getting ready to enter into November. I cannot believe, honestly, I can't believe where the time has gone. I'm seeing folks like posting their recaps about the month, and I'm like, we just started October. And I know this is nothing new for the human experience, but it never fails to amaze me how quickly we can go through time. Like 2022 is only a couple more months left, and then we're in 2023. What? Anyways, that's not the point. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to Talking Stories, I'm Raquel. I'm a multimedia journalist or story. Always get this wrong. I'm a multimedia storyteller with experience as a writer, communications professional, journalist, content creator, and now podcaster. I grew up surrounded by storytelling. I have a great love for storytelling, and that is part of the influence of the show. That is the influence of this show, where we get to talk about stories that are meaningful to me, and I hope that are meaningful to you. And I hope that my whole goal is that this becomes a place of home for you to get news, to get updates. You may not understand all the stories that I'm talking about or the worlds that it's coming from, especially when we come into geeky things, but hopefully the conversations bring you joy, and there's something that you can look forward to week after week. So last week I started joining you, and since I tell you to get a drink and turn up the volume, I said, I gotta make sure that I'm joining y'all. Today I gotta say I'm a little bit basic, but if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the mug that I'm drinking this in. Yes, for you who are not watching on YouTube, but you should watch us on YouTube, I'm drinking from a Doctor Who mug because we're gonna be talking about Doctor Who later. Uh, but I am just drinking black regular tea. Anyways, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Talking Stories with Raquel Russell. If you're enjoying the content, share with a friend. Please like. And honestly, the one thing I would love if you're listening and you're enjoying is please drop a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you're listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show, what you look forward to, what you'd like to see more of. Definitely will help to shape this into something that you can continue to enjoy. And also I want to say thank you to everyone who listened to the show last week. Thank you for those of you who I saw a couple of likes on YouTube this past week. So thank you for that. And I do want to correct a quick fib from last episode. Well, it wasn't a fib intentionally. So I said that you were going to see a bunch of new episodes from the first season of Talking Stories, which hadn't actually been on the same channel before because I started this on SoundCloud. So I went to go move all the episodes over, and I did move them all over, and then realized once they were moved over that I actually have a limit on this the hosting platform where I host Talking Stories, and there's like only so much that you can upload a month, and because I guess I wasn't being as consistent as I should have been, or lies, because I wasn't posting as often, I never ran into this issue before. But long story short, you will get the rest of the season 1 episodes. I'm just waiting for November to hit, and then I will upload the rest of them. And I guess I'll have to figure out, getting a bigger storage setting for this show, but I think it's a good problem to have. Anyways, long story short, you'll have your new episodes. So first off, starting with life update for me, your host, your girl. So yes, last episode I talked to you a bit about some of the loss that was happening in our family friends, and yesterday actually was the funeral, and that's part of why I'm recording this on a Sunday instead of a Saturday. And it was a really moving. Uh, it was a heavy day. There was a lot. It was joyful for sure, and being able to celebrate his life, and honestly, just celebrating as well, getting to see so many faces that so many of us hadn't seen in years. I mean, I kept saying over the viewing and the funeral, um, that's the one thing about funerals and weddings is how it brings people together. Obviously, on one hand, for a funeral, it's not the best circumstances. For a wedding, it's joyful, but it's taking the opportunities, and again, I didn't begrudge my mother taking photos at the funeral with friends that she hadn't seen in years, because as life has continued to teach us, you don't know if someone's not going to make the next funeral. And again, that's not like trying to be morbid, but it's just the reality. So yeah, I definitely was glad to see faces, and we were able to be there and support. And one thing, again, like I said last week, talking about the idea that life is a vapor, someone actually did use that line in the funeral. But also just being mindful of the impact that we're making. One thing that I like to think about my life and just lives in general is like every week, every day is an opportunity for either like a new chapter or a new moment in a chapter. Of course, I'm going to talk about this like as a book. Talking stories, guys, know where you are. But yeah, making an impact, because you go into that casket, and as one of the ministers said, you don't bring anything with you. You don't bring like, or not a minister, no, but you don't bring anything with you. You don't bring your watch. You don't bring your car. You don't bring anything like that. But it's the impact that you make on other people's lives. So that's definitely something that stuck around with me. But other than that, in terms of the life update, life has been pretty busy, and I hope that, again, as I said last time, that you are also taking time to be present in the moments, and also just to take care of yourself most generally. Sorry if you're hearing a noise in the background. I'm just stopping my dog Lucy from trying to escape. Anyways, so let's talk about some headlines that have been in the news. Do 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 do. Don't worry, y'all. I'm gonna get some actual transition music at some point. At some point. But in the news, want to start off talking about Elon Musk. He acquired Twitter. I think it was $43 billion, y'all. 43 $43 billion for Twitter. It's very interesting because there was some talk about potentially seeing more use of slurs on the app since that he acquired it, and you know uh quote unquote, like right wing extremists feeling empowered by the fact that he owns it. Some statements have come out from engineers saying that their moderation policy is still in place. It hasn't changed since the acquisition, but I can understand why people might be nervous. If anyone is familiar with Elon Musk, there have been different allegations that have come against him in the way that he runs his company. Specifically, the last I heard was about the treatment of uh, people of color in his company, Tesla. But that's not what I wanted to bring up today. It's just I know people are nervous, and for me, I work in social media. I'm on Twitter every single day. Like that's part of my work environment. So I'm going to definitely be keeping an eye on it. Some notable folks that have said that they're already leaving the app, and I'm assuming they've left the app, but their account's still there, include Shonda Rhimes. So we'll see what happens. Um, yeah, I'll be there. I know a lot of people have made the choice to leave, and that is definitely the prerogative. But I like to, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I like to just keep my eye on things that are shifting. And if things get too bad for you in any environment, like you leave and know what you can handle. But we'll see what happens with Twitter. Another headline, the fallout definitely is continuing with Kanye West following his anti-Semitic statements. And even a statement about George Floyd's family. He made the statement trying to apologize to them saying like, now I know what it is to have someone on my neck. Guys, come on. Like, honestly, my real hope for Kanye West is that, I mean, actually, I don't even know. I was going to say, I hope someone intervenes, a loved one, but from some of the articles that have come out, his loved ones, his friends have tried to intervene. So we'll see what happens next. The last headline that I really want to get into was this, is that Prince Harry, the title and the release date for his new book, Spare, has been released. It is coming out January the 10th, 2023. And if you look at the cover, it's actually a cover of Prince Harry looking straight into the camera, I guess you would say, with just the word "spare" at the bottom, his name, Prince Harry, at the top. And when I tell y'all, when I saw this title, I was like, the tea is going to be piping. The tea is hot. Spare. Like, I didn't realize a lot of people didn't understand the title at first, or at least from the chatter that I was seeing on Twitter, but it comes from that old adage, like the heir and the spare. So, Prince William is the heir to the throne. And, if something happened to William, then Harry would be the spare, so to speak. But I'm very interested to see what he has to say, because there's been so many headlines. And obviously, when it comes to Meghan and Prince Harry, I honestly take everything that's being saying with a grain of salt. But one of the things that has continued to pour out is that the titles of his children will depend on how bad he bashes or Meghan bashes the royal family in their documentary and in Prince Harry's book. Who knows how true that is? But I'm sure the royal family is watching this eagerly. And why am I interested in this book about someone who lives a life that I could never dare to dream? I mean, to be honest, and I think I've said this before in other episodes, for me, the royal family has always been something that I was interested in growing up. Part of it was the fact that, I was always searching for my own identity. I feel like I've said this story before on here, but if you haven't heard it, like searching for my own identity, and sometimes didn't feel like the Jamaican side of me was as accessible, and then just tried to pinpoint into something else, which my mother was born in Birmingham. And so I gravitated to learning as much as I could about the United Kingdom. I mean, that was part of some of even the courses that I chose. I mean, when I was younger, I had Prince William's postcard. Probably it was on my wall or on my dresser back when he had hair. That's not shade on people without hair, sorry. But anyways, so I've long followed the royal family, been very interested in their dynamic, as millions of people across the world. I know I'm not unique in that respect, but I am very interested to see what Prince Harry chooses to say about his upbringing. And I think I'm interested to read it as well, because obviously he's never going to escape privilege. But I feel like since his relationship with Meghan, that he's been, what can I say, a bit more verbal about understanding where he comes from and the access that he has. Um, and I just think I'm interested to see this Harry writing this story. So anyways, it was a very long time to talk about Prince Harry, but yes, his new book, Spare, is coming out in January 2023. So best believe I will be eagerly watching that news. I probably should pre-order from now, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, so that I want to then switch us over into fandom headlines specifically. The first one that we're going to start with is, because we didn't get into it last week, was the season finale of House of the Dragon. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The way that people were talking about these leaks, last week we talked about the leaks that happened with House of the Dragon. It released early through some of these, whatever, illegal sites. I can't remember what the right word is for that. And I get, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched, skip ahead, look through the show notes and just skip ahead a bit. But there's a moment, which I understand why people were upset, of Damon basically choking Rhaenyra when he was speaking to her. And there's so many story reasons why I understand what happened, and honestly, I'm not as shook as some people, but I mean, oh, sorry, not to hit you guys. I can get why people were upset. I mean, it's upsetting always to see a man physically like manhandling a woman. Um, the character Emma Darcy plays. But other than that, like that episode, the conclusion, with Lucerys getting eaten by Aemon's dragon, like, oh my goodness gracious me. My favorite part of the episode was when Matt Damon comes over to Rhaenyra to tell her the news, and Rhaenyra's walking into the fire. Like, these Targaryens are walking into the fire while she's like taking in this news. Keep in mind, she had just given birth to a stillbirth baby. Um, at this point in the show, you know what, I actually can't remember with how the time flowed, if it was like 2 weeks or if it was all in that same day, but she'd just given birth recently to her daughter, stillborn, lost her daughter, news that her father's dead, her husband slash uncle is is like trying to take control or be in more of a leadership position than she is in terms of like how they deal with the army and all this kind of stuff. And now her son, her baby, like her second son is dead at the hands of her half brother. Like, and then there's the moment where she turns from the fire and looks at you, and it's like, Rhaenyra, you can go ahead and commit all the war crimes that you want. I am on your side. Like, girl, I will fight for you. That was the inner monologue running through my head. But anyways, all that to say, the finale for House of the Dragon season 1, I thought was really well done. I don't know if I've mentioned, I'm not a book stan. I don't like, I've only Wikipedia'd information about these characters to kind of know like what's going to happen, because I don't know. I don't know if it's the older I get, I just, the stress of not knowing. So I kind of have an idea, but obviously the show's probably, it's already been different. So we'll see what happens. We have a year and a half, I guess, to wait for the second season. So yeah, that's House of the Dragon. But my favorite part of House of the Dragon, which will segue us into our next part of fandom news, continues to be Matt Smith's Daemon. I know he's insane, like literally insane. I know he's wild and he does things that cannot be justified. But that man owns the role. Every time he's on screen, who are you watching? Matt Smith. And his beloved universe, Doctor Who, his actual predecessor in the Doctor Who series, he's back. Look at that segue, y'all. He's back. Doctor Who, for any of you who are unfamiliar with the show. Oh, sorry, Lucy. Doctor Who is a sci-fi program. It's a British sci-fi program that's been running since 1963. It depicts the adventures of a Time Lord called the Doctor, who appears to be human. He travels around in a time-traveling spaceship called the TARDIS. Look at my mug, YouTube people, look at my mug. That's what he flies on. It looks like a bright police box for those of you who aren't watching on YouTube. But he goes, he fights foes, he helps answer questions. He honestly, like, he's the humanity's best friend. He or she, because the last Doctor was a she. Doctor Who, I've been a huge fan since I was a teenager, I guess kid as well. And my favorite Doctor is the 10th Doctor. So as I mentioned, the Doctor is an alien. He regenerates, so he takes on different forms. David Tennant, who was the 10th, was my absolute favorite. And he is now back as the 14th Doctor. For all of you Doctor Who fans, please make some noise. I know I did when I opened up Twitter and saw David Tennant trending, and I was like, it happened. It happened. And I went and saw the clip of the regeneration, and my man's like, what? And I'm like, yes. I can't even tell you what I actually was saying because I was just losing it. I was losing it. I was like bent over screaming, like every meme. I was losing it. So I don't care what they're doing with him. I don't care. I'm just glad that he's here for 3 episodes. Catherine Tate, who plays Donna Noble, no clue how she's here right now because she's supposed to have no memory of the Doctor, but she's back as well. and it's going to bring us into past the 60th anniversary, but we're going to be going into the 15th Doctor, who's actually going to be Ncuti Gatwa. Oh god, I'm saying his last name wrong. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Ncuti Gatwa. No, I'm saying it right. Who I love from Sex Education on Netflix, but he will be the 15th Doctor. So honestly, we're just winning. We're winning. I really wish that Jodie, who played the previous Doctor, I really wish that she had better writers. But it is what it is. YouTube people, you're seeing Lucy. She wanted to come and say hi. Anyways, but I really wish she had better writers. I do wish her all the best. I can't wait to see another project that she's in, and I did love her embodiment of the Doctor. I just wish she had writers who were up to the par of it. But I do hear the last season was better. How about you? Anyone who watched Doctor Who, did you really enjoy the last season? What were your thoughts? Anyways, let's go along in our fandom news to the next big thing that happened. Honestly, this past week was just an overflow of fandom news. Like, I literally was overwhelmed. So we got the news that there's a DCEU shakeup that's happening. So if you're familiar, DC has been running into some challenges, let's just say. Lots of sexual assault, harassment, racism, from you take your pick. There's drama happening at DCEU. And for a couple of years now, it's just been trying to right the ship, especially since, they made the decision that Zack Snyder's vision for the DC Comics entertainment universe, which you saw, for you who are familiar, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, the first Suicide Squad, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, that was all part of Zack Snyder's vision. But not everybody was on that wavelength. So in the last amount of years, there's been a lot of shifting back and forth, but we finally got news this past week that James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to be leading the film, TV, and animation division for DC Studios, which is huge. So right now, James Gunn has been, most recently you've seen him doing Suicide Squad, and obviously in the Marvel universe, he's doing Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's a lot of cross-pollination there. I'm just excited that we have some kind of stability. I say we, because I do still consider myself a DC stan, even though they continue to disappoint me. But I have hope. We'll see what he does with it. But the only thing that kind of makes me nervous, and one thing I'm not gonna blame it totally on this news. First, let me preface this to say, I love Superman. If you've been listening to this show for a while, you know that Raquel Russell loves Superman. And if you're a listener and you love Superman, please drop a comment, because we're going to be best friends. Sorry, Anna. Sorry, Veronica. Like, we're going to be best friends. If you love Superman, let me know. So again, I preface this. I love Superman. I really do enjoy Henry Cavill's take on him. He's got the look. He's got the mannerisms. I mean, there's a lot of them, but I do enjoy his Superman. I love Henry Cavill's Geralt from The Witcher probably more. Why am I talking about The Witcher and Superman? Because we got news this week that Henry Cavill in season 4 is going to be hanging up the reins to Liam Hemsworth. If the Hemsworth name sounds familiar, you're right. It's Chris Hemsworth's little brother. He is going to be taking up the reins to play Geralt of Rivia. You know the meme, the GIF, the little video moment when Michael from The Office comes out and he yells, "No, no, no." I'm not yelling because it's late and I live in an apartment. That moment when he's yelling, "No, no, no." That was me in my car screaming because I saw the breaking news thing come up and I was like, no, 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 no. Henry, no. Now, I'm not going to blame Superman totally. I'm sure there's other things. I saw some people talking about potentially a like prequel to um the House of the Dragon series that's happening right now and him possibly being a Targaryen. I don't know how that rumor started. I don't know if it's true. But the fact is, Henry Cavill will no longer be Geralt. He is leaving. I am upset because this is the thing. I don't know anything about I'm not familiar with The Witcher, like the show, with Geralt. I'm not familiar with the books. I haven't read them. But from everything that I've understood and the clips that I've seen, and honestly, just my own experience watching the show, he embodied the role for me. Like when everything else gets dull, like watching Henry Cavill in this white wig and all these swords being incredible. Anytime I'm bored of the show, okay, he's on screen. I'll be paying attention. He's leaving for Liam Hemsworth. So I'm very glad that the studio and the team behind the show continues to have their job. I'm not going to wish ever that a show is shut down, but it's going to be very hard for me, I'm saying right now, to be able to stick around with this show. I mean, low key, I feel like I'm going to also be giving my beloved Superman, because the news was that there's a Superman 2 in the works. Uh, and probably maybe that's what his time's going to be eaten up with. Yeah, I'm sure. I love Superman. I love Superman and Lois the show. I don't know that Henry needed to abandon Geralt. Sir, like, sir, please. But anyways, congratulations to him. Congratulations to Liam. I'm sure that he will do a great job and convert us all. Guys, and try to be hopeful. Be hopeful. Okay, be hopeful. And then finally, in fandom news, which the moment we're all looking forward to is next week, November the 11th, we are going to be seeing Wakanda Forever is out. This is a film, for all accounts and purposes, we're hearing they do a lot to honor Chadwick Boseman's legacy as the Black Panther. And we're going to see what they do next. I'm very excited. All the reviews coming out say that it's going to be a great film. If you go and watch it, please let me know what you think. I know I'll definitely be seeing it on the Friday. I'm probably going to see it opening night on the Thursday with my brother. We'll see how it goes. Thank God for Cineplex points, because I got a free ticket. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'm very excited for it. And finally, with the limited time that we have, and actually maybe I'll save more of this for next week because I don't think it deserves to be rushed. But some of the inspirational stories that I'm listening to, and I hope that you check out, one is Respect. It is a film that it follows the rise of Aretha Franklin's career from a child singing in her father's church choir to her international stardom. It stars Jennifer Hudson, who absolutely bodies this role. Like, I really need to spend more time with this. So I'll save this for next week and make sure that we get through some more of that. And then also, I've been watching this show on Netflix in addition to Love Is Blind. Don't you worry, I haven't forgotten about that. But it's called From Scratch. So I did see it initially on the roster, and I put it on my to watch list, but a friend texted me and she's like, this is one of the most beautiful shows I've ever seen. I snot cried. Like, it's such a beautiful reflection of like real life. And when I tell y'all, one, if you're gonna watch a show, I hope that you have someone else that you can call up or text and feel like you're not alone. I will say a warning for anyone who has family members that you've been close to and you've watched their cancer journey. It could potentially be triggering, but this show so far is beautiful. I'm on episode 4, and honestly, or I just finished episode 4. The tears have definitely come, but the story is an important one that needs to be told. That's what I'll say for now. I think I'll go into it some more next week, just to spend some more time talking to you about all about that and why I find this an inspirational story so far. But thank you first for joining us for another episode of Talking Stories. That's going to be it for this week. Guys, I'm trying to honor this shorter format. I want to make sure to leave you guys wanting more. But yes, again, if you do enjoy the conversations here and keeping up with the updates and hearing about different stories that are happening around our world, please do subscribe, like the video on YouTube, leave a comment, leave a review, please, on the podcast. And if you really, really love it, please share it with a friend. If there's any stories that you're interested in me covering or sharing my perspective on, let me know. Anything that you'd like to see change on the show, let me know. I want to, again, make this a place where you feel home and you get to get some great updates. So follow us on social media. Just look for Talking Stories with Raquel Russell, and you can follow me on my personal account at Rack Lion Chaser. Thanks for listening. Signing out from Toronto. Always rooting for you and wishing you a great new week. Be safe and know that you are loved. I'll see you next week. Bye.